You're going to sit. Tonight. Again, her twin sister adds, not looking up from her beginner's Sudoku puzzle. It's a process, I say. If you don't keep at it on a regular basis, you get nowhere. Besides, it's called just sit. Oh, that makes it official, either one of them says. I had my windbreaker on, but I thought it premature to zip it. Show some openness, like uncrossed arms. Yesterday, I was sitting in the meeting room at my internet job with the 8 other sales resulters when the promised new sales VP over from American Express, damn, shape-up time, we had said. He strides in and catches me with my arms folded. You, he said, ignoring my welcome name badge. You've got the body language of a Biloxi jail guard. Do I want to talk to you? I started to give him one of my surefire cold call icebreaker lines, this one about Missouri being the show me state and Mississippi the show me again state. But he puffed up alpha male and I yielded, him in a pinstripe suit and corduroy vest, conflating his old corporate tower with our casual cubicle mindset. I thought the whole idea was to go nowhere or be nowhere, my girlfriend Mercy says, picking at it some more. You're the teacher then, her sister says. They're called Roshi, and they're not teachers, I say. Oh yeah, enlightenment, it's in you already. I know, Mercy says, faux remembering what I had told her. I've heard that. It just has to be released, like the trash or Dina's upchuck this morning. That's her 6-year-old. My niece, the twin adds. This visit from Patty, now into day 5, is really an intervention escape, if there is such a thing, from her husband. They're in their rocky first year, and she didn't think his drinking would get in the way when they got married. Anyway, it made the sex all they could handle, which I can't help hearing about through these quasi-Japanese thin apartment walls when the twins have their regular heart-to-hearts in sleeping Dina's bedroom. That's where Patty's inflatable mattress is. But it's more that they force themselves to stop smoking for the night in with Dina. Now, I'm not as priggish as Freud, but I can't help but wonder at the subliminal effect Patty's sescapade details have on her niece's sense of self. Although for me to pretend to Mercy I contribute more than cursorily in the Dina arena would be a stretch, as I am reminded perfunctorily by my delay in asking about the upchuck. And I don't ask you to raise her or give me money except for your share, Mercy says. But if you live here, there's a certain nuclear reality. Like if you were in Bolivia and there was a curfew, you'd stay in the house. Or in your hotel, Patty says, if you didn't own. She's done with and graded A, the Sudoku, but it's only 3x3 square and half the numbers are filled in already. So it's as hard as a 4-letter TV Guide crossword clue missing the word show. Hour? She takes one of Mercy's cigarettes, stands near the sink, and they share drags. They're both quitting. You could be even more like twins if she inhales and you exhale. I almost let slip, but zip my jacket instead. I don't need my sarcasm labeled again as, oh, one of your cones. It's Coan, I always have to remind them, like Joanne, not Joan. And yes, my Roshi still uses those unsolvable riddles to addle one's brain to quicksilver enlightenment. The koan given me was pretty straightforward, I was told, but then again, they all are if they're not yours. How do I stop the bullet train en route from Osaka to Tokyo? But when an earthquake tore up the tracks, my riddle was revoked in a short ceremony. I am now koan-less, which these two don't need to have over me, although that makes me seem grasping. Wait, is that a koan, having nothing have a hold on me? Anyway, back when I was wrestling with the bullet train, I asked Roshi for some help, and he said, forget everything. But when I tried to take him literally and told him, ergo, I had solved it, he seemed hurt and said I was grasping at straws. More confusion. We now 4 don't live in a trailer park, although You'd hardly know it except for the new avocado electric stove the landlord had to install when Mercy started talking code violations. Dina's into doll coffee clutches, and this burgeoning socialness on her part is inviolate, which means stepping constantly around her Stonehenge-like tableau. It's not just that we're cramped, it's Mercy's clutter, the figurine inheritance from her mother. She got them all, being 2 minutes older, plus the other bric-a-brac. That's one reason I took to the Zendo where we just sit. Bare walls, bare floor, pretty much the spirit of a log cabin, which is, well, what it is. A scaled down version anyway, more like a kid's backyard hangout. It was a kit the Roshi and his students built, and while I know the TV spot with Tab Hunter doesn't mention Zendo as one of its many uses, our Roshi, as usual, recognized its innerness. If this Zen stuff, Mercy starts, an oxymoron I counter, Zen doesn't have stuff, she rides over it, is supposed to make you one with everything, she's amping up because she sees I've zipped my jacket and I'm taking the last 2 Fig Newtons so my stomach doesn't growl and distract the others. Why can't you just sit here? One with everything, Patty says, like the hot dog vendor, and they laugh, coughing out smoke, remembering the joke about what the guru orders on the street. Sit here, Mercy says. We can turn the TV way down. On the visual quiz shows, not Jeopardy, Patty says. I can't tell them that they just don't get it because of their ignorance, a word they would only hear with its throwback pejorative connotation versus what Roshi calls our launchpad ignorance. The last thing I'm supposed to do is use my teachings as one-upmanship, but it sure would be like shooting fish in a barrel in this case. I bow from the waist to Mercy, palms together as combination absolution, see you later. Oh, don't give me the weebles wobble, but don't fall down silent treatment, Mercy says. Patty has had enough. She suddenly crumples the empty cookie cellophane noisily in my face. Presto, Sudoku, she says, leaving the kitchen. That's the puzzle, I start, but I give up. I made the mistake of sharing my initial enthusiasm in reading a poem by Basho to them from the 17th century about the deep, woodsy silence broken by a frog's kerplop in a pond, leading instantly to his satori. Patty parts with, besides, what if enlightenment is all there is? I take advantage of the room's parody and step to Mercy to give a hug. With Patty gone, she'll yield. It's like she has to show solidarity toward her sister's plight and lump me with Manny, the 1/6 Choctaw. I never did understand that fraction, something about a bartered pinto. He can't hold his firewater. And after downing a few and chucking the remote, he'll usually start a purging weightlifting session in the den. But if Patty doesn't hear grunting and clanking right away, she has learned to get out of the bedroom and forget something at the 7-Eleven. I don't drink or smoke, now both, and I steer clear of reminding Mercy about these Zen gains, since I am unsure whether I am one-upping her or stripping away the non-me. Besides, when I did invite her to the monthly guest night, when the Roshi's wife bakes a gluten-free sheet cake that frankly could use some harmless frosting, Mercy said, well, having a 6-year-old keeps me in that here and now thing. We hug, even kiss, and she grabs me below my tanden, Zen breathing core, lowest chakra for yogis. You get the idea. Maya that illusion, big boy, she says, stepping back but delaying her hand's release. Oh, is that grasping she feigns? Maya is yoga. You're mixing your disciplines, I say, laughing. I'll bet you say that to all your dominatrixes, she says, adding a painful tweak when the phone jolts. I go to kiss her again, but she has turned as she's quick on the rings. It's probably Manny, home alone, post one-pot dinner, pre-dishwash, when the bleakness sinks in. I bow my way out again and get a backhand wave. I take the Vespa since parking the car after 7 p.m. is tough, by resident permit only, for blocks around. Mostly garden apartments engaged in their balcony clutter wars, some duplexes, and a few holdover cottages near the lake that have been winterized from their Methodist campground days. Those owners claim the neighborhood's cachet with their annual lantern and piccolo night. I thought my leather gloves were in the scooter pack, but I wasn't going back inside for them, so now my fingers are cold and the Zendo will be chilly, kept that way to keep our fire breath, which Roshi said raises our body temp, stoked. But a student had whispered to me that he'd like to see some science on that, and ever since, I haven't felt any free heat. It's a sparse gathering tonight, only 6 of us. I'm one of the youngest and newest ones, and my friend Zach, who brought me here on guest night, he said Zen made him a better tunnel toll taker, so I took him seriously. He no longer shows up. Zach got discouraged when, after an intense 6-hour session, most of the others felt they had jumped in the pond, kerplop, or similarly joyous immersion, and Zach, who didn't, couldn't stop feeling competitive. When the backslapping sounds hollow, he told me, and it's not because you emptied out anything, you'll quit too. The Roshi is late, which never happens, so there's some Zendo gossip during which I learned that my bullet train ex-Koan had previously been issued to a woman, alpha female Ivy League professor type, who had done well enough by her divorce that she would include it on her CV, she had joked. She literalized the Koan to the point of one night stepping in front of a rail yard switcher doing about 3 miles an hour, wearing all black and holding a battery-powered strobe light. Even so, it stopped the way trains do, down the line. The Roshi's high school-age daughter blows in and apologizes with a bow. He'll be a minute, she says, finishing her last bite of dinner and calling us to non-order. She takes the Roshi's embroidered red cushion, places it as we place ours, and we all settle down. Her name's Aya, after the first 2 of the 7 Sanskrit A sounds. To most of our ears, there was almost no differentiation among the 7, and the Roshi's first and only language lesson was dropped with us stuck on the vowels. She floats to the cushion, doing a slow-motion plie right into a half lotus, then tucks the other ankle to go full lotus without using her hand to place it. It's like something a praying mantis would envy. I lower myself like a pack mule with lopsided prospecting gear, try the half lotus, but it quickly hurts, and I go to sitting on my heels. Roshi calls it the Devil's Island shackled prisoner pose. I forget the Japanese word. Aya leads us in our first cleansing breaths, and I'm front and center because usually nobody wants to be in the Roshi's perfection shadow, and the other spots go early. My shoulders always relax first, then my gaze, which now travels past its usual point on the floor toward her diaphragm and, well, saucy, non-pal thought surfacing, saucy breasts as they rise and fall. She's purposefully unattractive in the weird way high school peer pressure can work, but she probably doesn't need to enhance the downside. She knows this, I think, because she said at a guest night, her goal is to become a parts model. Hands and legs, do TV spots for arthritis cream, isotoner gloves, stockings, depilatory gadgets for anywhere but the upper lip. I'm thinking after in a bra commercial. Our 2 breaths have slowed and synchronized, although I get lightheaded matching Aya's extended exhalation. Our tendons are in tandem, I want to whisper to breach the purity. She'll smile without shifting her gaze and whisper, "You're my first." Chip the monk scuttles through, tail high, looking for sheep cake crumbs. I maintain synchro with Aya. In fact, all 7 of us seem to be bowing the walls in and out a millimeter. our tidal breath eroding the boundaries, losing even the seamlessness of the seamless flow of expletives coming from Roshi's cottage, him and wife. Their screen door slaps shut, and we hear his footsteps near. There's a cacophony of breaths now. His hissed, "Put it, damn it," just outside, and he enters, first forgetting to remove his slippers. "Thanks, Aya," he whispers, and she unfolds her infomercial TV legs and floats off the cushion in a reverse plie. She slips out, and he takes her place, forcing some foamy, pug-like cleansing breaths, I presume, to catch up with us. The settling of our disturbed mind silt has not gotten very far when Roshi, Timo, stands and says, "This sucks." He composes himself a bit, which entails, even though there is no mirror, a glance to the side window and his hands ruffling graying hair. It's hard to ignore his LL Bean catalog, windblown, brand new football in hand, good looks, but I'm sure we're all, including him, supposed to. He sits down again, heap-like. "I know who I am," he says, putting his head in his hands. "I'm a Zen Fake, the real thing." We've stopped our pretend breaths at this point. Is this last statement his own high irony koan he's been working? The stray cars, dogs, music, and tinnitus are flexing now, not the log walls. I'm trying to pigeonhole the last minutes into some salve. Crazy Ward haiku? Because I liked where I was and am annoyed now. I devolved to my Fig Newtons. "No snacking," Timo starts, but waves himself off. I know who I am. What a bitch." He looks at us as if for the first time tonight. "Most of my adult life, I've been, emptying the mirror." He runs fingers through his hair, but avoids the window glance, stripping away who I was to be who I am. We nod like zombies questioning a mission more complicated than eating people. I was not so many other Timos. Rigorous. I was rigorous. Then one phone call. Fuck! Yes, I am one with fuck me right now. No one knows what to do with the tension. The elderly couple who are near neighbors have huddled a bit. Roshi sighs, a breath lost, amorphous, ugly. The Timo I've nearly emptied from the mirror, you should watch me shave sometime, is now the very one I am defending to the death, apparently judging from using the F word in this Zendo, a word that wasn't even allowed during its building, with plenty of cuts and blood blisters and splinters. My God, the splinters in a log cabin. The elderly man clears his throat. What on earth, or wherever, happened? "I've been hacked," Timo shouts. Not just my computer, mind you. Me, I, the quashed, nearly ego of me by some Serbian gangbangers or whoever. My identity has been stolen, all of it, and I want it fucking back. A chorus of oh no's is meant to soothe, but Roshi will have none of it. Checking account, cleaned out. Amex, MasterCard, both maxed. A $10,000 CD cashed in, and they avoided the bank's penalty. They are good, he snorts. Oh, and they hit you guys, too. Chip the Monk starts another pass and yaws way right as we quickly rise, sending cushion flack in his path. Yes, any of you who gave me social security numbers for whatever, insurance, or paid by credit card. Now we're a meandering Alvin Ailey modern dance for six called DEF-CON disbelief. The elderly woman who has always been on the fringe tells her husband, "But I won't be able to change my mother's maiden name." We stumble, our legs still half numb, and press in on Roshi, seeking un-Koan-like unambiguities. This is all very fluid, very new, Timo demurs. My wife is, and I don't hear the rest because I remember answering her email Ray Acme Zendo gift shop special offers. For Mercy's birthday, I bought what the brochure called Babbling Buddha Fountain from Japan. A better translation needed? I secretly hoped it would double as bedroom white noise and let me sleep through Dina's frequent checkpoint mommy visits through the night. Since my wallet had been stolen from the gym, I answered the email with Mercy's MasterCard, figuring to pay her back when the bill came. There is chaos, voices rising, flapping jackets, shoes sorted in haste. Remember, Timo says, trying to calm things down, for instant anger, just add anger to any path you're on. We'll have none of it. All 6 of us, it turns out, are on the hook to some degree. There are dozens of phone calls facing us that will be a stew of frustration, punching numbers, being on hold, getting the supervisor, all to reanimate the straw person we've been scything at the roots, hacking up until the pieces can't find each other, Timo actually said once. Roshi holds the door for us, head bowed, all as usual, but now it seems he's just avoiding our shaking heads and mumbles. I start to ask about the Acme Zendo gift shop return policy, but remember, I modified the fountain's babbling flow beyond its last setting of verdant hubbub. I grab a fish sandwich from McDonald's, sticking to the drive-in. It's all their color saturation I can handle. I eat the non-soggy half and throw the rest out the window. By the time I get back to the apartment, Mercy and Patty are asleep on the couch, bookends, and the babbling TV covers me to the bedroom. For some reason, I've never needed an alarm to wake up for the twice-weekly 8 a.m. sales meetings. With my commute, I'm up at 5:30 for car, train, subway, walk, bagel stand. I was going to leave Mercy a note about the credit card, but it's too complicated and she'll want to vent. But I am a good listener. I once brought home the dentist's waiting room Cosmo, test score, highest bracket, enlightened male, I showed her, jokingly, to which she snipped, "Next time your ears are closed, try to listen to my G-spot." Alex, the new sales VP from American Express, is all over our case, this his first Monday, at 8 sharp. Anyone late is excluded from the meeting. We have the latest, hottest internet thing. You've all been to Pasadena corporate for 5 days of training, so why are we bucket lapping, he says. And not that he'll add this, but Alex wants his signing bonus of stock options to kick in before the internet bubble bursts. I know he has waited for my mouth to fill with coffee and bagel before sandbagging me in front of the 9 of us. Pascal, you've got the most robust territory in the city. 11 futon shops alone. Get one and you get 11. They're all related by blood or hate, but nada this month. I couldn't say anything in my defense if I wanted to, so I hold up my finger, which he ignores. So I'm splitting Sector 8 in half. You keep north of Houston Street, and Ben will add Houston South onto his Sector 12. Ben, of course, is good with that. Also, you and Kumar, who nods to alert at his name, are on probation until my discretion, and there may only be room for one of you. This is the damn shape-up time I feared. I suggest, Alex adds, directing everyone's gaze to the tally board, that if you two want to get out of the cellar, you work your territory harder. If a prospect tells you he has time near closing at 7 p.m., you work till 7 and beyond. If he says his brother has to be in the meeting and he's not in till 7, you work till 7 and beyond. I've spilled some hot coffee onto my tan slacks. I bolt upright to daub it before it burns, and this action takes on a life of its own. I see Kumar is now all twinkly and bushy-tailed, and I realize he's going to kick my ass to make the cut. He has a pregnant wife. This was inside of me already, it dawns on me. Okay, Alex, I say, I'm willing to work to 7 at night, but what am I going to do with the 4-hour lunch? No one in the room is sure if this is a shootout, gaffe, or what, so I tell them. It's a shootout, laugh at him. I crumple my meeting agenda, hit the three-pointer, and sidle out, cocky as a man can with coffee groin. It's raining so sideways that all of us sales resulters would have had a hard time keeping our computer laptop for in-store demos dry through our backpacks, even with the cheap garbage liners they give us. I'm not concerned about a new job. I have a desirable skill set for anyone who thinks the internet is not a fad. And the piddling IPO stock options I walked from are now the junk they almost certainly were inside themselves. I hope when I get back to the apartment, all have left early and I can have time to sort out which ends of the spaghetti platter of my life are attached. That's a work in progress koan of my own making. Soaked socks gruesome, I say to myself, starting a haiku as I fold my umbrella in the apartment lobby. There are raised voices behind the door, but by the time I get it open, I face a museum diorama. Mercy, Dina, Patty, and Manny, and a standard poodle so skinny its head could pick skeleton locks. The only thing moving is cigarette smoke. I step in and apparently trip the light beam that kicks the diorama into its animatronic set piece. End of Mercy's nuclear reality, early 21st century. They all reactivate, glaring at me and each other, flopping on the couch, gesticulating in disgust. The poodle mashes through one of Dina's Stonehenge doll clutches on the floor, so she's the only one who's now speechless. And as Mercy pulls herself out of the vitriol orbit, she says to me, "Just the fucker I'm looking for." She grabs a notepad by the phone. "I'm not taking it back," Manny tells Patty, kicking toward the dog. "That's fucking final, unless you come with it." "You found that dog. You brought it home so I wouldn't pester you for a baby for another couple of months, you fuck you," Patty says. Dina smacks the dog with a doll, and the poodle becomes a Mobius strip of skulk, avoiding her, then Manny within the small room. "Aunt Patty fucking till she's full of cum. Aunt Patty fucking till she's full of cum," says Dina in a hint of sing-song as if she's sure of the lyric, but working out the tune. "Come to her gills," she says. Mercy rushes over. "Where did you hear that talk?" she says, holding Dina tightly. "I don't know," she says, now scared. "What are gills, Mommy? What did I say?" She heard it in her sleep, I say, the same way I hear about Patty's bionic beaver through the walls. Leave her alone. Mercy turns on me. Don't you ever tell me how to raise my child." "Oh," I say, taking the room in for her. "I wouldn't presume." Mercy flails the notepad. "I got a courtesy call from Mrs. Acme Gift Shop about their little hackapoo. When were you going to tell me you used my credit card for that fake jade fountain?" The dog is lapping out of it. "Mommy, what is cum? It sounds like an ice cream cone." "It's okay, honey," Mercy says. "It is from an ice cream cone you put in your gills." She whips back around to me. "I'll never lie to my child. Unlike you, to me, you out in your alternate universe, while everyone in your orbit on Earth has to pick up after you." Manny is giving Patty prison guard body language. He is what the gym rats would deferentially call big, just short of the muscles as crustacean look. "That dog stays here with you, or you bring it with you," he says. "That dog is not staying in this apartment," Mercy says, moving in front of her sister. "I'm allergic to fur." "Poodles don't have fur." I can't resist. "They have hair, just like Dina." "Shut up, you're not helping," Mercy says. Manny steps to me. "Yeah, bud, my sister-in-law was doing just fine with me until she got that phone call." He's got the Indian ponytail thing, and he rolls his neck muscles a lot, as if keeping a steroidal seizure at bay. "Mommy," the dog's slathering Dina through her playful objections, "can we keep Sasha?" "Do not get attached to that dog," Mercy shouts, and I really laugh, wanting to say kerplop to her for her sudden enlightenment. Manny thinks I'm laughing in his face, and he stabs a finger unsoftened by dishwashing into my chest. "I'm going to kick your ass, and I'm going to do it now. And when an Indian makes up his mind..." But I'm not backing down. It's been that kind of day. He signs the next treaty, I say, banking on a quick mental image of my discarded wrestling trophies. Outside, Manny says. I'll just get out of these work clothes, I say. Oh no, says Mercy. You put that macho crap to work and bend some ears on the phone. Patty has put the leash on Sasha and holds it out to Manny as he puts on his jacket. He shoves her hand aside. I am coming back for both you bitches. Patty scoffs. Are you trying to make me jealous? It won't work. I know I'm your stand-up bitch. He leaves the door open. I go to change into my sweats and sneakers, and Mercy confronts me. I want that Buddha lump to go back. I want the charge taken off. I want my good name, Mercy L. Barcroft, restored. And Mrs. Patty Barcroft Windeater, if need be, Patty adds from the other room. Then, oh, I don't know anymore, and sits down to smoke. Mercy sits next to her and they share drags. I go out the open apartment door and start to feel foolish schoolyard stuff. It's still pouring. The foyer window a flight down is in a car wash. The front door opens and I get a fear spike ball tingle, but a stroller noses in. I swallow and make a face. Unused adrenaline, our coach in wrestling used to tell us, is the worst taste in the world. I go down the last flight, open the door, and Manny is seated in a full lotus position on the walkway, striated by rain blurs, eyes fixed a few feet in front. His gaze doesn't shift when my sneakers enter his field of vision. I had no call, he says softly. What the hell, I come up with? It's Choctaw storm sit. Go out in the worst night, blizzard, lightning, like that. Blizzard. You raise your body heat. That's not a problem. Worse is wolves. They don't see what I'm doing as strength. I circle, unsure, then sit on my heels facing him. You mind, I say? In our unique casino/nature language, he says, I'd say you bumped me from wolf mark to wolf shill. I smile. Casinos. Scalp us legally now, huh? The postman walks slowly around us into the lobby, quicker going back. With the rain's clatter, it's hard to hear a common breath, but a seamlessness sets in. Is that your Zen, Manny says after a while. Yeah, my Roshi is now my koan, never mind. Our breaths no longer vaporize and the rain seems less cold. I got a half truck full of chicken pot pies, he says. I didn't think Patty would jump back, so I planned to take a few days, just a tarp, sleeping bag, stove. The pies will keep in a mountain creek. What kind of chicken pot pies, I say, remembering a bad experience with one brand. Chicken, he says. That's like when someone asks, what denomination is that stone church over there, and you answer Stones. You mean the make? Swanson. Cupped hands atop knees, clear ponds for kerplop machine guns. Am I not at least one, I think? Okay, I say, looking back at the window and seeing neither Patty nor her sister there. A night or two. One thing up there, he says, don't try to convert me to your way of sitting. My elders got plenty of that whitewash crap from your pioneers, sore point. I rise and my joints are stiff. I'll just grab a few things upstairs. Less grabbing the better, he says. You're a quick study, I say, school marmish finger wagging for effect. Slight rise, gauging, rain, a sure bet down his face. He lets it all ride.